Hello, today I'm looking at a Citroen dispatch. This one's 2006 with a 1.9 engine, and the fault code today, if you can see that, is a P1402 EGR electro valve. Now what we've got here is, see the EGR pipe, and the EGR will be in here because we've got the air intake and the EGR gases going into the intake, but the electro valve is what I would call a vacuum solenoid, and it's right here. And the problem with it is the wires were broken off. They've been rubbing on, you can hear a cat over there. They've been rubbing on the wiper linkage the way they were put down the back, and it snapped the wires off. Here's the wires now at the very end of the plug. So I couldn't do anything with that. I've had to de-pin it and put two new bits of wire on. And you just see a Noid Light in the end. And why I've done that is to show you this. I've got a fault code, but what I could do to prove if everything was okay is I can use a test light like that, touch it on, and then erase the fault code, and it will let me erase it. I'll see if I can hold that. Might have to put a clamp on there so it holds it onto it. You can use a Noid Light like one of these, the same as that, and that's why I've got this here to show you if the wire wasn't broke and it was a faulty valve, you could just put a Noid Light in, see if you can clear the fault code. If you can, then you know that's all you need. Well, in this case, a test light, and got two hands, but you touch that and press erase the fault code on there and it goes. So it doesn't light up, but it doesn't need to. It's just enough so it sees a circuit when it's doing its check. I just wrap the wires round the end to make this a circuit. You see it's not lit. Actually, the bulb looks like it's getting a bit of corrosion in there. It does actually work though, and that's allowed me to clear the fault codes. Like I say, if the wire wasn't broke and I was checking for the vacuum solenoid, which is there, or an electronic valve as some companies call it, I could have just used the Noid Light. But now I'm going to join these two wires onto those wires, plug it in, and that's it done. I just thought I'd show you another way of testing something without buying the part first. Use a Noid Light or a test light. Hopefully it's helpful to somebody. Thanks for watching. As it's soldered and soldered, now I've got this heat shrink that I'm going to put over it, and then I'll heat them up just so that you know it's not crimped. I know a lot of people don't like crimped connectors, but I don't have a problem with them. And then I'll cable tie this to that bracket that doesn't move, so the wires aren't going to break in the future. Now I just put the heat shrink on, and using the soldering iron and the hot air gun, it's heat shrunk, so I'll get this back into its conduit and cable tie it so it's not going to be anywhere near the wiper linkage. Thanks for watching. That's the finished thing now. Soldered, heat shrunk, connected up with no fault codes. But I wanted to say that this Launch X431 is my old scan tool that I'm glad I kept, because my Ortel didn't like working on this car at all. Even if I tried telling it was a Fiat Scudo or a different car, it still didn't like it. But this scan tool was quite happy on this car, so that's why I don't get rid of my old scan tools. It's worth keeping hold of them. Well, back at this, after not going even off the estate, we've got a different fault code now. This time it's the P0406 EGR solenoid valve, short circuit to positive. That's this one right here this time, solenoid valve down there. As you can see, I've unplugged it and I've got a Noid Light in there like I was saying before, because the wires are okay. So I can just choose a Noid Light that fits and put it in there. Probably best to do it with both hands, so that I get it in. Yeah, I'll do it with both hands and then see if I can erase this. But it's when I started the car I got that. With the ignition on only, I didn't get that. He drove a little bit, not even off his estate, and the light came on again. Different fault code though. Right, got the bulb in, just needed both hands, the Noid Light. Going to erase the memory. So I've got to put the mileage in. I'm just going to press 0 to get this done. Don't know what the mileage is now. And these picks are good, long reach picks for getting these sort of connectors off in awkward places. And again, it says switch off, but I'm not doing that either. I'm just pressing that I've done it. And we'll start the car and just check that light doesn't come on again. It came on straight away. So it says it's gone, but it did that before. Read the fault code, no code. I'll start the car, and like I say, it thinks that's the solenoid, so hopefully it's okay. Sometimes things need a little bit more attention. Once you fix one fault, there's another one there. So ignition off, back on, got the glow plugs working. Back on again, no engine light. Okay, there's no engine light. So far so good. So I'll go and check on this scan tool. That still says no fault codes because I've got to go back into it and read the codes again. No fault codes. So it's happy with that. What I'm going to do is, oh, you see it's lit up because it's trying to put the EGR on now. It's trying to work the EGR. It obviously is just lighting a bulb. So let's see now if I've got any fault codes. No fault codes. I thought when the EGR opens, it's letting in exhaust gases, so it should be seeing a drop in the mass airflow sensor here, because instead of air coming in there, we've now got air coming in there as well, which is part of a diesel to keep the NOx down. So I thought it might have the sense to know that there's not a drop in mass airflow gases and now have a fault code for that, but it hasn't. But what I'm going to do is take the bulb out, connect it back in, and see if the light comes back on. So now I've connected that back in. This is the EGR down there. It light the bulb, but it doesn't like this one. I connected it back in and it's back. So even though that is, it was like 0 ohms, but so it's not an open circuit, but it mustn't like it. So the only way to change that is to change the solenoid. You can't just leave a bulb in it all the time, that wouldn't be right.